Wisdom seekers, imagine this. You walk into a room, head held high, but there's someone whose gaze pierces through your confidence like a sword. It's subtle, almost imperceptible. Maybe it's the dismissive laugh, the rolled eyes, or the sharp edge of a word spoken with contempt. It's that unmistakable feeling of being undermined, disrespected, and reduced. But here's the thing. Respect isn't just about what others give you. It's a mirror of how you carry yourself. It's in the battles you choose to fight, the silence you command, and the wisdom with which you respond. This is a game as old as humanity itself. A game of dominance and submission, of virtue and folly. And today, we're diving deep into 5 powerful ways to handle those who fail to respect you. The Stoics, masters of fortitude and emotional mastery, understood that respect is less about controlling others and more about mastering yourself. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor who ruled with unparalleled calmness amidst chaos, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What a profound reminder that no one can truly diminish your worth without your consent. So, as we embark on this journey together, remember that each way we explore is not just about navigating disrespect, but about transforming it into a source of growth, resilience, and unshakable inner peace. Stick with me until the end, and you'll walk away armed with insights that will forever change the way you approach the challenging relationships in your life. Wisdom seekers, your support means everything. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Every like, subscribe helps us continue our mission of sharing knowledge. Ready to unlock more wisdom? Let's get started. Way 1. Cultivate the fortress of inner strength. Before diving into how you handle people who don't respect you, let's consider this truth. The way others treat you often says far more about their character than it does about your own. Yet, how you respond, that is where your true power lies. The Stoics believed deeply in this concept. They argued that external insults, slights, and actions are entirely beyond your control, but the way you interpret and internalize them is entirely up to you. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations written amid the clamor of ruling an empire, wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Now, think about that for a moment. The pain of disrespect isn't born from someone's words or actions. It's born from the meaning you assign to them. If you feel diminished by their treatment, it's because, somewhere deep down, you've accepted their judgment as valid. That is why the first and most critical step in handling disrespect is not about confronting the other person. It's about fortifying yourself. It's about cultivating an inner fortress so impenetrable that no insult, no scorn, and no dismissive glance can shake it. Imagine your inner self as a grand, ancient citadel. The walls are not made of stone but of virtues: integrity, courage, resilience, and self-respect. These walls are built brick by brick through conscious effort and deliberate practice. But what happens when these walls are weak or unfinished? Disrespect becomes a battering ram, breaking through and leaving you vulnerable, hurt, and angry. To avoid this, your task is to make your inner citadel unassailable. How do you do this? Start by understanding your worth as something intrinsic and unchanging. Your value is not determined by someone else's fleeting opinions. It is not defined by their approval or lack thereof. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." In the context of respect, this means that as long as you crave validation from others, you will remain at their mercy. You must learn to crave less and be content with the quiet assurance of your own self-worth. Building this mindset takes time and effort. It requires you to confront uncomfortable truths about yourself. Ask yourself this: why does disrespect bother you so much? Why do the words or actions of others have the power to unsettle you? For many, the answer lies in insecurity. We seek external respect because we doubt our own value. We need others to affirm us because we haven't yet fully embraced who we are. This is the weak point in your fortress, the gap through which disrespect seeps in. To seal this gap, you must shift your focus inward. Begin each day with a practice of self-affirmation. Remind yourself of your virtues, those qualities that define you at your best. Maybe it's your integrity, your work ethic, your kindness, or your courage. Whatever it is, hold on to it tightly. Let these virtues anchor your sense of self so that when someone disrespects you, you can silently think to yourself, this person's opinion has no bearing on the truths I know about myself. But cultivating inner strength isn't just about self-affirmation. It's also about controlling your reactions. This is where the Stoic principle of apatheia, serene calm, becomes invaluable. When someone disrespects you, your initial impulse might be to lash out, to defend yourself, or to retaliate. This is natural, but it's also a trap. Reacting emotionally gives the other person control over you. It hands them the power to dictate your mood and your behavior. As Epictetus said, whoever angers you, controls you. The next time you feel the sting of disrespect, pause. Take a deep breath. Resist the urge to react immediately. In that moment of stillness, remind yourself that you are the master of your emotions. The other person's behavior is a reflection of their inner turmoil, not yours. This pause is a small but profound act of rebellion. It's you asserting your sovereignty over your own mind. Over time, you'll find that this practice of pausing becomes second nature. And when it does, something remarkable happens. The disrespect of others begins to lose its power. It no longer provokes you because you've trained yourself to see it for what it truly is. An external event that has no real impact on your internal state. This is the essence of the Stoic mindset, and it is the cornerstone of handling disrespect with grace and strength. But let's take this even further. Cultivating inner strength also means reframing disrespect as an opportunity rather than a threat. This may sound counterintuitive, but consider this. Every instance of disrespect is a chance to practice resilience. It's a chance to test the strength of your inner fortress. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully when he wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very thing that challenges you, the disrespect, is what helps you grow stronger. So instead of dreading or resenting disrespect, welcome it as a test. View it as a sparring match that sharpens your mental and emotional muscles. Each time you respond with calmness and composure, you reinforce the walls of your inner fortress. Each time you choose not to let someone's words affect you, you become a little more unshakable. This approach does not mean you should tolerate blatant mistreatment or allow others to walk all over you. We'll discuss how to assert yourself later. But it does mean recognizing that your first and most important battle is always with yourself. If you can master your own mind, no one else can master you. Wisdom seekers, let this be your guiding principle. Respect begins within. When you cultivate an unshakable sense of self-worth, the disrespect of others becomes little more than noise. It fades into the background, unable to disturb the calm waters of your inner peace. And in that stillness, you'll find a strength more powerful than any insult or slight. As we move forward to explore the next way to handle disrespect, carry this lesson with you. Make it the foundation upon which all other strategies rest. Build your inner fortress brick by brick, and let no one, no matter how disrespectful, lay siege to it. Way 2. Master the art of silent authority. If cultivating inner strength is about building an unshakable foundation within yourself, the next step is to master how you project that strength outwardly. Respect is rarely something you demand, it's something you command. And one of the most powerful ways to command respect from those who may dismiss or undermine you is through silent authority. Silent authority is a subtle yet commanding presence. It doesn't shout, it doesn't beg for attention. Instead, it exists in quiet confidence, in unshakable composure, and in actions that speak louder than words ever could. The Stoics understood this principle deeply, for they believed that virtue displayed through action carried far more weight than words ever could. As Epictetus so simply put it, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Now consider this, when someone disrespects you, what do they expect? Often, they expect a reaction. They expect you to bristle, to lash out, or to stumble in defense of your dignity. This is the game they play, and when you react as they hope, you inadvertently hand them the upper hand. But what if, instead of reacting, you responded with calm, deliberate silence? What if you let your poise do the talking? Imagine a great oak tree in the midst of a storm. The winds howl, the rain lashes against it, yet it stands firm. Its roots run deep, and no matter how fierce the storm, it remains unyielding. This is the essence of silent authority, a presence so grounded, so unwavering that it naturally commands respect without needing to demand it. To cultivate this kind of presence, start with your body language. Much of the respect you command or fail to command is communicated non-verbally. When someone disrespects you, how do you physically react? Do you shrink? Do you fidget? Or do you hold your ground, steady and composed? The way you carry yourself sends a message far more powerful than anything you could say. Practice this. Stand tall. Keep your posture straight, your shoulders back, and your head held high. This signals confidence and strength, even if you feel shaken inside. Over time, your outward posture can influence your inner state, reinforcing your sense of authority. Maintain eye contact. When someone tries to undermine you, look them in the eye, not with aggression, but with calm assurance. Eye contact communicates self-assurance and tells the other person that you are not intimidated. Control your gestures. Avoid frantic movements or nervous tics. Instead, move with purpose. Deliberate, controlled gestures convey calmness and control. But silent authority isn't just about body language. It's also about mastering the power of restraint. When someone disrespects you, your instinct might be to immediately defend yourself or to confront them head-on. While there are times when assertiveness is necessary, more often than not, the most effective response is simply to say nothing at all. Silence, when wielded wisely, is an incredibly powerful tool. It forces the other person to confront their own behavior without the distraction of your reaction. It shifts the power dynamic, putting you in control of the interaction. As the old saying goes, the loudest person in the room is often the weakest. By choosing silence, you signal that you are unbothered, that their words or actions are too insignificant to merit a response. This in itself can be a profound assertion of your authority. But silence doesn't mean passivity. It's not about shrinking away or avoiding confrontation. Rather, it's about responding with intentionality. Consider the example of Marcus Aurelius, whose reign was marked by immense challenges, including betrayal and dissent among his own ranks. He rarely responded to criticism with angry tirades or heated debates. Instead, he allowed his actions, his fairness, his wisdom, his unwavering commitment to duty, to speak for him. This is silent authority in action, letting the strength of your character and the consistency of your behavior command respect, even in the face of opposition. To master silent authority, you must also learn to pick your battles. Not every act of disrespect is worth addressing. Some slights are so trivial that responding to them only elevates the person who delivered them. Wisdom is knowing when to engage and when to let things pass. Seneca wrote, "It is a petty man who seeks revenge for small insults." By choosing to rise above minor provocations, you demonstrate that you're operating on a higher plane, a plane where the petty games of others cannot reach you. There will be moments when silence is not enough, when disrespect escalates to a point where it must be addressed. Even in these moments, silent authority can guide your response. Instead of reacting emotionally, respond with calm, measured words. Speak clearly and deliberately without raising your voice or allowing your tone to betray anger or frustration. This kind of response not only diffuses tension, but also reinforces your position as someone who cannot be easily provoked or shaken. Another crucial aspect of silent authority is consistency. Your actions, your demeanor, and your reactions must align consistently over time. People are quick to spot hypocrisy or inconsistency, and these undermine your credibility. But when you consistently demonstrate calmness, strength, and self-respect, you build a reputation that commands respect even from those who may not like you. Over time, even those who initially disrespected you may find themselves compelled to reconsider their stance, simply because your silent authority leaves them no room to undermine you. Silent authority also teaches us an important truth about respect. It is often earned, not demanded. When you embody strength, composure, and integrity, you naturally inspire others to respect you, even if grudgingly at first. This kind of respect is far more enduring than the fleeting deference that comes from loud demands or emotional confrontations. Let's not mistake this approach for weakness or avoidance. Silent authority is not about ignoring problems or allowing yourself to be mistreated. It is about responding in a way that preserves your dignity and undermines the disrespectful behavior without resorting to the same level. It is about choosing the high road, not because it is easy, but because it is powerful. Wisdom seekers, remember this. The way you carry yourself in the face of disrespect sets the tone for how others will treat you in the future. By mastering silent authority, you send a clear and powerful message. I am not easily provoked. I am not easily shaken. And I will not allow anyone else's behavior to dictate my sense of self-worth. As you continue on this journey to handle disrespect, let silent authority become a cornerstone of your approach. Practice it daily, refine it constantly, and let it guide your interactions. In the silence of your composure, you will find a strength that speaks louder than words ever could. Way 3. Set boundaries with unyielding clarity. If inner strength is the foundation and silent authority is the outward manifestation of your self-assurance, the next essential step in handling disrespect is mastering the art of setting boundaries. While silent authority allows you to project calm and composure, boundaries ensure that others understand there are limits to what you will accept. They define the space where respect begins and disrespect ends. Without boundaries, even the most composed and self-assured individual risks being taken advantage of. The Stoics, though often associated with emotional restraint, were firm believers in the importance of asserting one's principles. To live according to virtue, as they taught, meant knowing what you stand for and what you will not stand for. Seneca reminds us, if a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Boundaries are your port. They are the principles that guide your interactions, the invisible yet firm lines that protect your dignity and peace. Now let's be clear. Boundaries are not about controlling others. You cannot force people to respect you, nor should you try. Instead, boundaries are about communicating your expectations and protecting your space when those expectations are violated. They are about asserting your right to be treated with respect without needing to resort to hostility or aggression. Setting boundaries is not a sign of weakness. It's a profound act of self-respect. To set effective boundaries, you must first know yourself. What behaviors are unacceptable to you? What treatment will you not tolerate? These answers may differ from person to person, but they must be clear in your mind. A boundary that is vague or poorly defined is easily ignored or misunderstood. For example, consider the difference between these two statements. I don't like it when you speak to me that way. I will not tolerate being spoken to in a disrespectful tone. If it happens again, I will leave the conversation. The first statement is an expression of discomfort, but it lacks clarity and consequence. The second is a clear boundary. It not only defines the unacceptable behavior, but also establishes a consequence for crossing the line. When setting boundaries, clarity is your greatest ally. But clarity alone is not enough. Boundaries must also be communicated firmly yet respectfully. This is where many people falter. They worry that setting boundaries will make them appear confrontational or unkind. They fear rejection or retaliation. These fears are natural, but they must be overcome. Remember, setting boundaries is not about being rude or aggressive. It's about being honest and assertive. As Epictetus said, courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. Setting boundaries requires courage, and with practice, that courage will grow. When someone disrespects you, how you respond depends on the nature of the offense. If it's a minor slight, silent authority, as we discussed earlier, may be sufficient. But if the disrespect is persistent or crosses a significant line, you must address it directly. Here's how to do so effectively. 1. Stay calm. Never set boundaries in the heat of the moment. Wait until you are composed and clear-headed. This not only ensures that your message is delivered effectively, but also demonstrates self-control. 2. Be specific. When communicating your boundary, describe the behavior in question clearly and without exaggeration. For example, say, when you interrupt me while I'm speaking, I feel disrespected, rather than, you never let me talk. Specificity leaves no room for misunderstanding. 3. Express your boundary. After identifying the behavior, state your boundary firmly but respectfully. For instance, I value conversations where both parties listen to each other. I need you to allow me to finish my thoughts without interruption. 4. Establish consequences. A boundary without consequences is ineffective. Make it clear what will happen if the boundary is crossed. For example, If the interruptions continue, I'll have to end the conversation and revisit it later. This is not about punishment, it's about protecting your space. No. 5. Follow through. The most critical part of setting boundaries is enforcing them consistently. If you establish a consequence but fail to follow through, your boundaries lose credibility. Enforcing boundaries requires discipline and self-respect. But what happens when your boundaries are met with resistance or hostility? This is not uncommon, especially from individuals who are used to treating you with disrespect. They may attempt to guilt you, argue with you, or even escalate their behavior. In these moments, remember this: their reaction is not your responsibility. You cannot control how others respond to your boundaries. You can only control how you uphold them. This is where your inner strength and silent authority come into play. When someone pushes back against your boundaries, remain calm and resolute. Do not be drawn into arguments or emotional outbursts. Simply restate your boundary, reinforce the consequence, and follow through if necessary. Over time, this consistency sends a clear message. You respect yourself, and you expect others to do the same. One of the most transformative aspects of setting boundaries is the way it shifts the dynamics of your relationships. When you establish and enforce boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. Those who are unwilling or unable to respect your boundaries may drift away. And while this can be painful, it's ultimately for the best. As Seneca wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach. Surrounding yourself with individuals who respect your boundaries fosters relationships built on mutual respect and understanding. Boundaries also protect your peace. When you allow disrespect to go unchecked, it creates resentment and tension, both within yourself and in your relationships. But when you set clear boundaries, you eliminate the ambiguity that often leads to conflict. You create a space where respect is not just expected, but understood. Wisdom seekers, let this be your guiding thought. Boundaries are not barriers, they are bridges. They do not isolate you from others. They teach others how to connect with you in a way that honors your dignity and values. Setting boundaries is one of the greatest acts of self-respect you can perform, and it is an essential step in handling disrespect with grace and strength. As we move forward, remember that your boundaries are not just for others, they are for you. They are a reflection of the standards you hold for yourself and the life you wish to lead. Uphold them with clarity, enforce them with consistency, and let them serve as a testament to your unwavering self-respect. Way 4. Respond with calm, calculated assertiveness. After cultivating inner strength, projecting silent authority, and establishing clear boundaries, the next essential step in dealing with disrespect is learning how to respond with calm, calculated assertiveness. While silence and boundaries are powerful tools, there are times when you must engage directly, confront the issue, and make your stance known. This is not about meeting disrespect with anger or aggression. It's about addressing the situation firmly and confidently, without losing your composure. Assertiveness is often misunderstood. Many people equate it with being forceful or domineering, but true assertiveness is neither. It is simply the ability to express your needs, rights, and opinions clearly and respectfully, while also respecting the rights of others. As Aristotle observed, anyone can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. Calculated assertiveness is the art of doing just that, responding to disrespect in a way that is measured, intentional, and effective. The foundation of calculated assertiveness is emotional control. When someone disrespects you, it's natural to feel anger, hurt, or frustration. These emotions are valid, but allowing them to dictate your response can backfire. Losing your temper, shouting, or retaliating impulsively only serves to escalate the situation and diminishes your own position. Instead, you must learn to channel your emotions constructively. The Stoics placed immense value on mastering one's emotions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When faced with disrespect, take a moment to pause, breathe, and center yourself. This brief moment of reflection allows you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It shifts the dynamic from one of emotional escalation to one of deliberate engagement. Once you've regained your composure, the next step is to address the situation directly. When you speak, do so with clarity and purpose. Avoid vague or ambiguous language, which can lead to misunderstandings or further conflict. For example, instead of saying, "You're always so disrespectful," try, "I noticed you interrupted me during the meeting earlier. I feel that my input wasn't valued, and I'd like to ensure we can both communicate respectfully moving forward." The difference lies in specificity and focus. By addressing the behavior rather than attacking the person, you create an opportunity for dialogue rather than defensiveness. Another key aspect of calculated assertiveness is tone. The way you say something often matters as much as what you say. A calm, steady tone conveys confidence and authority, while a raised or shaky voice suggests a loss of control. Practice speaking in a way that is firm yet non-confrontational. Let your words carry weight through their content, not through volume or aggression. This approach not only diffuses tension, but also commands respect. As Epictetus advised, keep silence for the most part, and speak only when you must, and then briefly. When engaging assertively, it's also crucial to avoid personal attacks or assumptions about the other person's intentions. Disrespectful behavior is often rooted in ignorance, insecurity, or misunderstanding, rather than malice. By assuming ill intent, you risk escalating the conflict unnecessarily. Instead, focus on the specific behavior and its impact on you. For example, instead of saying, "You don't care about anyone but yourself," say, "When you dismissed my idea earlier, it made me feel unheard." This shifts the conversation from blame to resolution. Assertiveness also requires you to be prepared for resistance. Not everyone will respond positively to being confronted about their behavior. Some may become defensive, argumentative, or dismissive. In these situations, maintain your composure and stick to your message. Do not be drawn into an emotional battle. If necessary, repeat your point calmly and firmly. "I understand your perspective, but I still feel strongly about how this behavior affects our dynamic." Persistence, when paired with calmness, reinforces your resolve and signals that you will not be easily swayed. But what if the disrespect persists, despite your assertive response? This is where the calculated aspect of assertiveness becomes critical. You must decide whether further engagement is worth your time and energy. Not every battle is worth fighting. Seneca advised, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." In other words, life is too short to be consumed by every slight or insult. If someone consistently refuses to treat you with respect despite your efforts, it may be time to disengage and redirect your energy toward more meaningful pursuits. However, calculated assertiveness isn't just about addressing others' behavior. It's also about modeling the behavior you expect. If you demand respect but fail to show respect yourself, your words lose credibility. Consistency between your actions and expectations is essential. Treat others with the same dignity and courtesy you seek, even when they don't reciprocate. This not only reinforces your integrity, but also sets a standard for how you expect to be treated. Another powerful element of assertiveness is timing. Addressing disrespect in the heat of the moment can be challenging, especially if emotions are running high. Sometimes it's better to wait until the situation has cooled before having the conversation. This allows both parties to approach the issue with a clearer mind. For example, instead of confronting someone immediately after an argument, you might say, "I'd like to revisit our conversation earlier when we're both in a calmer state." This demonstrates maturity and a willingness to resolve the issue constructively. Finally, calculated assertiveness is not just a response to disrespect. It's a preventative measure. When you consistently assert yourself in a calm and confident manner, you establish a reputation that discourages future disrespect. People begin to recognize that while you are not quick to anger, you are also not someone to be dismissed or undermined. This balance of composure and strength is the hallmark of true assertiveness. Wisdom seekers, remember this. Assertiveness is not about overpowering others. It's about standing your ground with grace and confidence. It is the ability to respond to disrespect without losing sight of your values or your composure. By mastering calculated assertiveness, you not only address disrespect effectively, but but also reinforce your own sense of self-respect. As you continue this journey, let assertiveness become your ally. Use it to speak your truth, protect your boundaries, and navigate the complexities of human interaction with clarity and strength. Way 5. Transform disrespect into an opportunity for growth. If there is one lesson the Stoics taught that resonates profoundly in the face of disrespect, it is this: challenges, no matter how unpleasant, are opportunities. Disrespect, while uncomfortable and sometimes deeply wounding, can be a crucible for your growth as a person. It forces you to confront not just others' behavior, but your own reactions, expectations, and strengths. This is where the true test of your character lies, not in how others treat you, but in how you choose to respond. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, offers a simple yet powerful perspective. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This idea, often summarized as turning obstacles into opportunities, can be applied to the way you handle disrespect. Instead of viewing it as a purely negative experience, consider it a chance to refine your character, strengthen your resolve, and practice the virtues that Stoicism champions: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. When someone disrespects you, the initial sting is undeniable. The natural human response is to feel insulted, angry, or even vengeful. But as the Stoics remind us, the key to mastering life's challenges lies not in suppressing these feelings, but in reframing them. What if, instead of focusing on the offense, you focused on what the moment could teach you? What if you saw it as a training ground for your inner strength? The first step in transforming disrespect into growth is adopting a mindset of detachment. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This means separating yourself from the emotional weight of the insult and viewing it with objectivity. Disrespect, when stripped of its emotional charge, is just an event. It does not define you, nor does it have any power over you unless you allow it. When you detach, you take control of the narrative. You become the master of your response rather than the victim of someone else's actions. Detachment does not mean indifference. It does not mean tolerating mistreatment or ignoring harmful behavior. Instead, it means approaching the situation with clarity and reason rather than emotion. Ask yourself, what does this situation reveal about the other person? What does it reveal about my own expectations or insecurities? How can I use this moment to strengthen my resilience or clarify my values? By shifting your focus from the offense itself to the lessons it offers, you transform a moment of disrespect into an opportunity for self-reflection and self-improvement. Next, use disrespect as a mirror. Often the way others treat us reflects their own insecurities, frustrations, or ignorance, rather than any inherent flaw in us. Recognizing this can help you avoid taking their behavior personally. As Seneca wisely observed, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Much of the pain caused by disrespect stems from our interpretation of it, rather than the act itself. By depersonalizing the behavior, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. However, disrespect can also serve as a mirror for your own behavior. It may reveal areas where you've been too passive, where your boundaries are unclear, or where you've tolerated mistreatment for too long. Use these moments to examine your own patterns. Are you allowing others to treat you in ways that you wouldn't tolerate from yourself? Are there ways you can assert your values more effectively? This kind of introspection is not about blaming yourself for others' actions, but about taking responsibility for your own growth. Another way to turn disrespect into growth is by practicing forgiveness. This is one of the most challenging virtues to cultivate, but it is also one of the most liberating. Forgiveness does not mean condoning disrespectful behavior or allowing it to continue. It means releasing the hold that anger and resentment have over you. When you forgive, you reclaim your peace of mind and your emotional freedom. Consider the example of the Roman statesman Cicero, who faced betrayal and public ridicule from his political adversaries. Despite these personal attacks, he often chose to rise above pettiness and focus on his larger goals. His ability to forgive, or at least not dwell on grievances, enabled him to remain effective and focused, even in the face of great adversity. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of strength. It says, "I will not allow your actions to dictate my emotions or my path." Disrespect can also be an opportunity to practice empathy. While this may seem counterintuitive, especially when someone has wronged you, understanding the root of their behavior can be transformative. Most disrespect stems from pain, insecurity, or ignorance. By seeking to understand rather than retaliate, you not only grow in compassion, but also diffuse the power of the insult. This doesn't mean excusing the behavior. It means recognizing that it often has little to do with you and everything to do with the other person's struggles. Finally, use disrespect as fuel for your purpose. Let it motivate you to become stronger, wiser, and more resolute in your values. If someone doubts your abilities, let it drive you to prove them wrong. Not out of spite, but out of a desire to fulfill your potential. If someone tries to undermine your worth, let it remind you of the importance of cultivating self-respect. Every moment of disrespect can be a catalyst for personal growth if you choose to view it that way. In transforming disrespect into growth, you embody the Stoic principle of turning obstacles into opportunities. You refuse to let negativity derail you, and instead you use it as a stepping stone toward greater strength and wisdom. Wisdom seekers, let this be your guiding thought. Disrespect is inevitable, but how you respond to it is entirely within your control. Every insult, slight, or act of rudeness is an invitation to rise above, to strengthen your resolve, and to refine your character. By embracing this mindset, you turn even the most challenging moments into opportunities for growth, and in doing so, you become truly unshakable. Final thoughts: embracing respect through inner strength. Wisdom seekers, as we draw to a close, let us reflect on the journey we've undertaken together in exploring the ways to handle those who do not respect you. Throughout this exploration, one profound truth has emerged: respect begins and ends with you. It is cultivated through your actions, your boundaries, your strength, and your willingness to rise above the pettiness of others. Disrespect, in all its forms, is an inevitable part of life. No matter how virtuous or composed you strive to be, there will always be moments when others challenge your worth, your dignity, or your values. But the true measure of a person is not found in how they avoid disrespect, but in how they respond to it. Each encounter with disrespect offers an opportunity, a chance to fortify your character, sharpen your resolve, and deepen your understanding of yourself and others. Remember the pillars we've discussed: cultivating inner strength, the unshakable foundation that allows you to face any challenge with poise and confidence; projecting silent authority, the quiet power that commands respect without demanding it; setting unyielding boundaries, the clear lines that protect your peace and define how others can engage with you; responding with calm, calculated assertiveness, the art of addressing disrespect directly yet gracefully; transforming disrespect into an opportunity for growth, turning obstacles into stepping stones for your personal evolution. These practices, when embraced fully, do more than just shield you from disrespect. They empower you to transcend it. They enable you to live a life defined not by the opinions of others, but by the principles you hold dear. The wisdom of the Stoics echoes through each of these ways. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca remind us time and again that our power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. Their teachings, timeless and profound, guide us toward a life of virtue, resilience, and inner peace. They teach us that the world may not always respect us, but we must always respect ourselves. Wisdom seekers, take these lessons with you and weave them into the fabric of your daily life. When faced with disrespect, do not let it diminish you. Instead, let it illuminate your path toward becoming a stronger, wiser, and more self-assured version of yourself. Be the example you wish to see in others. Be the calm in the storm, the steady hand amidst chaos, and the unwavering voice of dignity and strength. As we part, remember that respect is not something you demand or chase. It is something you embody. And when you embody it fully, it has a way of finding its way back to you. The world may not always be kind or fair, but your response to it can be. That is where your power lies. That is where your greatness begins. Thank you for walking this journey with me, wisdom seekers. Let these lessons guide you not just in handling disrespect, but in every aspect of your life. Continue to seek wisdom, cultivate strength, and live with purpose. The path to respect begins within you, and the world will take notice.